Greetings everyone, Core here. I know it's been about 2 weeks since my last video. I do try to I try to give updates on my Twitter of what's going on. Um, I don't know if you can hear it too well, but I'll probably cough any second now. But uh, I just got over being sick, and I still have a pretty bad cough that really messes me up in the morning, especially until I work it out. But still a little congested, got the cough. Uh, Keeping it in check pretty well, but nonetheless, it's time for another midnight review. And tonight, I want to go see the Hitman's Bodyguard, and I highly recommend it. It was a fun movie, to say the least. The way that the writing was, the way that everything just flowed, the action scenes, even the way it was just shot and paced and everything. Everyone does a great job, and you could tell they were having fun. So it's definitely worth your dollar to go see this if you're looking for a fun action comedy buddy cop kind of movie. It's definitely worth it. But that's out of the way. Now that you know my simplified thoughts, just to get that out of the way in the first minute, let's go ahead and get down to the details a little bit. So of course this is a movie that's kind of been joked around online. It's pretty much Deadpool and uh and oh my god, why am I forgetting his name? Free from Shield. I can't believe I forget his name. Fury, Nick Fury. Wow, I am really out of it still. So pretty much a lot of people are joking that this is pretty much what Deadpool and Nick Fury were doing during the Avengers movies and everything when you didn't see them, and which is a little funny because it's almost like they actually reversed their roles, where Ryan Reynolds slash Deadpool would be actually the hero trying to save people like Fury. He would be more Fury than Deadpool, where Samuel Jackson's character is more Deadpool than Fury. So it's pretty interesting to see that. It's definitely such a fun movie. There's laughs, there's jokes, there's they're not going with the tropes of a lot of movies like this you normally would go through. They kind of make fun of them, so it's very similar to how Deadpool was with comic book movies. This is kind of how it is with the opposite end, buddy buddies that have to get something done, but of course hate each other. The odd couple kind of thing, but with guns and explosions, and there's quite a bit of gore stuff too. Which is kind of funny because it's the same director that did Expendables 3, which, if you've seen Expendables 3, it was PG-13 fied compared to the first two, which were R-rated, and it was some pretty gory scenes. Granted, CG blood wasn't that realistic-y, but PG-13, they really made it more for a wider audience, so they could try to cash in more, which it really hurt their film. But this one, they just go full on R. They take out the whole nudity scenes just so they could get away with all the language, the blood, the gore. Some of the kills are pretty gruesome. I mean, there's a part where there's a bullet being taken out of a leg, and it just goes on a little too long. It's pretty gruesome, like I said. But nonetheless, if you could get over that, it's such a great movie. What else? The writing, like I said, is really good, really great. Nonetheless, not good. It's just, like I said, it's kind of it hones in that Deadpool feel, where they're making fun of the type of movie that it is, but yet it's not something completely up. It's not, they're not working against the grain too much. They're still embracing what it is, and they're trying to make it unique, which it does very well. And the funny thing is, I actually didn't realize Gary Oldman was in this movie before I saw it, because he just pops up. And of course, Gary Oldman being Gary Oldman, he's just great in every role that he takes. He actually becomes that person, and he does a really good job as his character. And of course, Ryan Reynolds just has that quick talking, smart ass. Just he's holding in that Deadpool. I mean, that's just his character now. It's just who he is, and it just works so well. And of course, you have Samuel L. Jackson, who's just this veteran assassin that's just goes with the flow, and you know it all works out in the end. You know, he's like a cat with nine lives over and over. It's like he should have been killed, but he isn't. Uh, the other thing that's pretty fun is Salma Hayek's character, which is the wife of Samuel L. Jackson, and she's pretty fun. I mean, she's in prison most of the scenes. Uh, she's just she's just a badass, just like Samuel Jackson's character, and she has such some great scenes. And I think like I said, this movie, I think everyone had fun because they weren't limited, like how some movies would be. You know, they embraced that R rating. They knew what they wanted to be, and they pulled it off really well. It's really, it's impressive, to say the least, that none of it felt phoned in. None of it felt, you know, corny or cheap. It, you know, for the type of movie it could have been, a lot. You know, it just could have been just a phone-in movie just for a paycheck, and it's not. You could tell there's a good chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson's character. Just the actors alone, they have good chemistry, and it's amazing how much fun this movie was. It brought me up. You know, from being sick and everything, it made me feel better for sure. Uh, yeah, I mean, everyone in the audience just laughing. I mean, it was pretty hard. Anyway, sometimes it hurt. It hurt a little when I was laughing because I would start coughing, and I didn't care. I mean, it was just hilarious. You know, I tried my best to try to keep the coughing in, but it just was no use. I mean, this movie is so much fun. It's kind of like how Kick-Ass was. You know, it, it's it's just such fun. It's pretty impressive considering, you know, the director has only directed really one major movie, which is Expendables 3, and besides that, I mean, he's done short films still. I mean, he did a movie called Red Hill, which I never saw, but he takes a pretty big break between his directorial, you know, movies and everything. So I like it. I mean, I want to see what he does next. I hope he gets something good, because he had fun with this one. And if he can stick with the same writer, I mean, I'm sure they will come up with something really great. But yeah, I mean, besides that, there are some musics. Some musics. There's actually a really good soundtrack. I think this movie does what Atomic Blonde should have, in a way. Granted, Atomic Blonde was more drama and suspense, where this one's more action and adventure. But nonetheless, the way that some of the action scenes are shot, when they bring in the music, everything is just right. It fits perfectly. You know, it works just like how Baby Driver worked with its music. It just works every single scene. Every time they play a song, it just blends perfectly. And I think that's what messed up with Atomic Blonde, that it just didn't fit. For one, they chose a lot of time period music, which limits you. But the second thing is just they just crammed it in, where this one just worked perfectly. There's a few scenes that don't even have sound. Well, not sound, music to say, not even just background music. It's just the two actors, you know, talking or doing something. It just works. I mean, everything, everything just works perfectly. And I gotta say, this is such a great movie to end my summer movies. And I will be doing a top 10 list. Probably come out next week. I'll probably be working on the weekend when I get some free time, because this Sunday is SummerSlam, and I'm really excited for that. So Sunday I probably won't work on it too much. Excuse me. But nonetheless, probably it's gonna be top 5, not top 10, just because I limited the summer movies. It's pretty much gonna be from May till August. That's gonna be my summer movie picks. I will have a couple honorable mentions for movies that came out before in the spring, because there are some great movies that came out in the spring. And of course, I'll try to have a little list of what to expect for the rest of the year, if not into next year. And I'll tell you right now, I do not have a movie review for almost a full month. My next movie review will be September 22nd. Granted, 21st is when I'll see it, and that's going to be The Kingsman, The Golden Circle, which I loved the first Kingsman, and this one looks really intense. The first trailer was a little misleading. I think the second and the third trailers have been really on point, and I can't wait to see what comes next. It looks to be really impressive. They're definitely expanding the world of the Kingsman, and if it's half as good as the first one, I'll enjoy it. But till then, guys, later.